Japan is sliding toward a breaking point, and the warning signs are showing up everywhere at once. Tokyo is preparing a massive 17 trillion yen stimulus, while bond yields erupt to record levels and confidence in the yen keeps slipping. At the same time, Beijing is signaling retaliation, tourism is at risk, and US tariffs are crushing Japanese exports. The global environment isn't helping either. Trump is pushing ahead with $2,000 checks, the cost of building anything in America is exploding, and the Federal Reserve is boxed in by rising inflation pressure. All of this forms a single storm that Japan now has to navigate, and the moves it makes will shape how this crisis unfolds next. Japan's new 17 trillion yen stimulus plan marks a dramatic turn in its economic strategy. That's roughly $110 billion, a massive injection for a country already carrying one of the heaviest debt loads on Earth. And the market reaction was immediate. Japan's 20-year bond yield surged toward 2.8%, the highest level ever recorded. Investors are reading this as a warning. With debt to GDP already above 230%, confidence in long-term sustainability is fading fast, and traders are rushing out of Japanese bonds. The yen is weakening again, and every new policy announcement is met with even more doubts about the country's financial stability. Tokyo says the stimulus will support households struggling with the rising cost of living. It will also pump money into AI and semiconductor development, sectors Japan hopes can revive growth. But markets aren't convinced. Years of aggressive spending have delivered little structural change, and the timing of this package raises even more concerns. GDP already fell 1.8% in Q3, the first decline in 6 quarters. It's a clear sign that the pressure from global tariffs, weaker exports, and higher import costs is building faster than policymakers expected. The real issue is momentum. Once bond yields start rising in a country this indebted, it forces everyone to question how much more borrowing the system can handle. Higher yields make future stimulus more expensive, weaken the currency further, and tighten financial conditions across the entire economy. And Japan is facing these challenges, just as geopolitical tensions and external shocks are accelerating, shaping the environment the country must now confront. Japan's political stance has now collided with the one country it cannot afford to provoke. Tokyo's recent signals on the Taiwan issue were read in Beijing as a direct challenge, a step far beyond ordinary diplomacy. For China, Taiwan is a firm red line, and any hint of Japanese involvement triggers memories of older conflicts that still shape public sentiment. Those historical tensions never fully disappeared, and they resurface quickly when national pride or security is touched. That is exactly what we're seeing now. Chinese state media has already hinted that preparations for retaliation are underway. They are openly discussing options ranging from targeted sanctions to new tariffs and even selective trade restrictions. None of these measures need to be large to hurt. Japan's economy is extremely sensitive to shifts in demand from China, especially after years of slow growth and rising costs at home. Tourism alone shows how much leverage Beijing has. It makes up around 7% of Japan's entire economy, and Chinese visitors are the backbone of that sector. From January to September, 7.5 million tourists came from mainland China. If you add Hong Kong, that number jumps to 9.3 million travelers. That's more than visitors from South Korea and the United States combined. Hotels, airlines, retailers, restaurants, cosmetics brands, everyone depends on this flow of spending. So when China warned its citizens about traveling to Japan, the impact was immediate. Even shares of cosmetic giant Shiseido fell 11% in a single day. Investors know how quickly a travel freeze can turn into a broader consumer backlash, something Chinese audiences have carried out before in other disputes. What makes this even more dangerous for Japan is how interconnected these sectors are. A drop in tourism weakens retail. Weak retail pressures service jobs. Falling service activity intensifies the drag on GDP at a time when exports are already under stress from US tariffs. And Japan is confronting all of this while relying heavily on China for minerals, technology inputs, and industrial materials, shaping the challenges that come next. Japan's stimulus plan focuses heavily on rebuilding its technological base, especially in semiconductors and electric vehicles. The idea is simple. If Japan can strengthen these industries, it can offset the damage from tariffs, rising import costs, and slowing domestic demand. But this strategy has a major weakness that Tokyo cannot escape. Every part of this plan depends on access to minerals that China overwhelmingly controls. China dominates almost the entire upstream chain. It holds nearly 100% of global production for gallium and magnesium, two materials that are essential for advanced chips and lightweight components in electronics and EVs. It also manages the majority of the world's rare earth refining capacity, the step that turns raw ore into usable metals. Without those refined materials, Japan cannot manufacture the magnets, sensors, motors, and high-performance chips that its stimulus is meant to support. Then comes the magnet market itself, which is critical for EV motors and many industrial applications. China controls around 70% of that segment. And it is not just magnets. Japan relies on Chinese graphite, the key ingredient for EV batteries, as well as a long list of rare earth elements used in everything from automotive electronics to defense systems. This dependence means timing matters. Japan is choosing to confront Beijing precisely when it needs secure, affordable supplies of these minerals. Any disruption, whether from sanctions, export controls, or grassroots boycotts, would ripple immediately through Japan's industrial base. It would raise production costs, delay factory output, and weaken the very sectors Tokyo is trying to revive through its 17 trillion yen stimulus package. All of this tension builds on the pressure Japan is already facing from global tariffs and weakening demand abroad, creating the conditions for the next stage of the crisis. The United States is dealing with its own storm, and the center of it is Trump's tariff policy. These tariffs were supposed to rebuild American industry, but they are now creating the opposite effect. Instead of lowering costs and protecting factories, they are driving prices to levels that make production far more expensive. The clearest example is aluminum. The world's largest aluminum producer has imposed a $2,000 Midwest premium on shipments headed to the US market. The company described the American market as broken, and the data backs that up stockpiles are shrinking, supply is drying up, and prices are jumping across the entire sector. This creates an immediate problem for every major industry. Building an EV, a data center, or a chip plant inside the United States now costs dramatically more. Tariffs force consumers to buy American, but the items they buy come with a high premium because imported inputs are heavily taxed. Steel and copper imports face duties of over 30%, pushing prices deeper into unsustainable territory. Other countries are already repositioning themselves. Canada has shifted a significant portion of its aluminum exports toward Europe, keeping prices stable there while leaving the US with far tighter supply. As a result, American prices have nearly doubled while Europe remains relatively insulated. This damages US competitiveness abroad and makes it even harder for American manufacturers to win contracts in global markets. The timing of these pressures is especially damaging because the United States is trying to lead the AI race. That requires more than $1 trillion in new industrial capacity, from chip fabrication to advanced computing centers. But all of these projects rely on materials that are now significantly more expensive due to the tariff regime. And the broader system is deeply underbuilt. The US infrastructure funding gap stands at $3.7 trillion, including $580 billion needed for energy systems, $690 billion for roads, and $370 billion for bridges. This shortfall means that any attempt to expand manufacturing or build the facilities needed for the AI race becomes extremely expensive. Every dollar of output now requires about $2 of spending, creating a structural drag that the current policy mix only makes worse. The more the US tries to expand, the more these higher input costs pile up, setting the stage for even greater financial strain as the economic environment continues to shift. Trump's proposal for $2,000 stimulus checks is adding a fresh layer of uncertainty to an already fragile US economy. The plan is being described as a tariff dividend, and the checks are expected to arrive by mid-2026. More than 100 million Americans would receive this payout. But the cost is enormous. Estimates show the program could require between $300 billion and $600 billion in new borrowing on top of the current debt load.
Do you think that that's the most financially responsible thing to do?
Well, there are a lot of options here. The president's talking about a $2,000 rebate, and that would be for families making less than, say, $100,000. What we did with the tax bill is actually financing the president's no tax and tips over time. Social Security and the big refunds you're going to see are a result of that. So that's another payment to the American people.
Even Besant's attempt to frame it as a benefit created by the no tax on tips policy doesn't change the financial impact. Money of this size moves markets, and it moves them quickly. The effect is also inflationary. Most households will spend the checks immediately, while the profits created along the supply chain will flow upward. That money eventually lands in assets like real estate, gold, and US stocks, creating even more upward pressure on prices. The timing is what traps policymakers. The Federal Reserve is already facing questions about when it should cut interest rates, yet it now has to consider the arrival of $600 billion in fresh liquidity only months later. Cutting rates too soon could accelerate inflation, but delaying cuts when markets are expecting them carries its own risk. The odds of no cut have already risen to 53%, showing that traders are nervous. Tech companies are especially exposed because they rely heavily on borrowing to build data centers, expand AI infrastructure, and maintain growth. Without lower rates, their financial models start to crack. The government shutdown has also created a data blackout, giving the Fed even less information to work with. This combination of stimulus pressure, inflation risks, and limited policy visibility keeps the financial system on edge. And those stresses are now appearing across the world. Pressure across Japan, China, and the United States is converging into a single global squeeze. Rising tariffs, tightening supply chains, and shifting interest rate expectations are leaving governments with far less room to respond without creating even more instability. Japan is struggling with higher input costs, China is expanding its leverage, and the US is operating inside a tariff system that limits its own industrial ambitions. These forces are shaping the next phase of this storm. Can Japan hold the line? Will China escalate? And can American industry endure the pressure? Share your thoughts below and make sure to like and subscribe. See you in the next one.